So we don't need him. We just need him to be quiet. Okay, Rabotai. The halakha class, usually we do the sefer Yahaveh Da'at, but this time we're going to go to the big leagues. I wrote a couple of sefarim answering halakha questions. One is Yahaveh Da'at, which is a little easier to read, which is the one we always do. And one of them is Yabia Omer. Yabia Omer is much harder. So I'm not going to read every part of it, that's for sure. So I'm just going to skip a few pieces, and I lost the place. So I have to find it. So give me 1 second. Where was the place? Good. Let's skip around. Nothing we need. Where is it? Line of theme. Not that one. The question is, sometimes when guys get an aliyah to the Torah, after the reading is finished, before they make the final blessing, they say the words emet, toratenu, hakedosha. Anybody here do that? You do it, Muhammad? Well, no, we never did it. No, I never did it. Not here. Maybe you did it somewhere else. Could have been one-on-one with me and you. I just got to find the halakha, though. I can't find it. Where was it? Hold on. What was your 10? Well, if I can't find the halakha, I ain't going to be no halakha. Here, סימן ט'. נשאלתי אודות הנוהגים בעליית ספר תורה לומר בסוף הקריאה לפני ברכה האחרונה, אמת תורתנו הקדושה. אם יש בזה חשש הפסק. Is it a hefsek to say these words before the blessing? Is it an interruption? וכן יש לדעת אם פסוק גואלנו שאומרים אחר ההפטרה, הרי הפסק. Same thing goes for the word גואלנו. After ההפטרה, before the berachot, we say גואלנו אדוני צבאות שלום הקדוש ישראל. That's also not part of the haftarah. So how do we say that? So the Tosafot in Masechet Berachot, again, I'm not going to read the whole halakha here. I'm just going to read pieces. If you want to look it up later, it's in Yabia Omer, book 1, halakha 9. Okay? The Sefer in Tosafot in Masechet Berachot says, ברכת ישתבח שבסוף פסוקי דזמרה, אינה פותחת בברוך. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, it doesn't start with Baruch Atah Hashem. It just ישתבח, and at the end is the beracha. Sometimes the beracha is in the beginning, like before you say the prayer. And sometimes the beracha is at the end. Why is the beracha yishtabach only at the end of it and not in the beginning? Like, for example, Yotzer Or. Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam. Yotzer Or borei choshev. And at the end of it, we say, Baruch Atah Hashem, Yotzer meorot. We say beracha, Baruch Atah Hashem in the beginning, Baruch Atah Hashem at the end. But Baruch She'amad, we say, Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam. In the beginning, we say it. And then Yishtabach, we only say the end part. We don't say the beginning part, which means, is Yishtabach its own beracha, or is it connected to the beginning of Baruch She'amad? So the Zafot says, the Pisha Simucha, the Baruch She'amad. The Yishtabach is the final blessing for Baruch She'amad. It's a package. It's bookends. So Yishtabach is not its own blessing. Yishtabach is the second half of the Baruch She'amad blessing. So it's all one set, the first set. Just like it's Hameirot, right? V'lachen says the Safot, therefore, yesh lizahesh lo lasapeh benehem. You should make sure not to talk in between Baruch She'amad and Yishtabach, in the Halilukaz, in the Ashrei. You shouldn't talk. Why? Because you're in the middle of a blessing. Even though there's a lot of time and a lot of things, your words that your mouth is saying with the Ashrei, Halilukah, by Barak Tavi, by Yosha, you're saying a lot of things. That's not a lo mafsiki. It's not a hifsek. Those things are not a hifsek. They're part of the beracha. Says Tosafot. Now that I just told you, you shouldn't speak in Pesukei Zimra. You shouldn't speak between Baruch She'amad and Yishtabach. Im Tuamad beracha harona lemי שקורא בתורה. Amar tzricha leftoch bebaruch. So why do we have a baruch? Why do we have a beracha after the aliyah? Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et torato toratenu v'chayei olam toratenu. Baruch atah Hashem noten haTorah. That's the beracha, right? Just to be clear, before the aliyah, you say Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Hashem noten haTorah. That's Baruch atah Hashem twice, in the beginning and at the end of that one. And then after the aliyah, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. That's Baruch atah Hashem. Asher natan lanu torato torat emet v'chayei olam natan v'dochenu. Baruch atah Hashem noten haTorah. It's again twice. And so the question is, why do we have to say Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher natan lanu? Just finish the Torah and say Asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam Baruch atah Hashem noten haTorah. Just it's a sandwich. It should be the same thing like Yishtabach. Baruch She'amar is Baruch Asher Bachbanu. Nishtabach is Asher Natan Lanu. It's a sandwich. Why do we have to have a Baruch and a Baruch after the Aliyah? Says Tosafot. And he says, Shlomar, the fish Shayu Raginim, Shelo Hayom Barachim Rak Harishon Beracha Harishona Ve'Acharon Beracha Harona. It used to be in the olden days that not every single person that read the Torah said the Beracha. Only the first Aliyat Kohen said Asher Bacharbanu Mikolam, the beginning one, and the Mashlim would say Asher Natan Lanu Torato. Everyone's all together in this. So just one guy makes the opening blessing, one guy makes the last blessing. And therefore, you know that people are going to be talking in between the first aliyah and the last aliyah. So that's why the last aliyah is not a full sandwich, and it has to have its own Baruch atah Hashem opening. Asher Natan Lanu. Even though later they made a takana that every single aliyah makes their own beracha, not like it used to be only one guy and one guy. Everyone does their own beracha. Still, shub lo zazah mimkoma. The minhag of saying the beracha doesn't change. It's already a full beracha at the end of it. Says Hacham Ovadia, according to this, he's comparing it to Baruch She'amar. Because the what's comparing Baruch She'amar and Yishtabach to the Berachot of the Torah. And he just told us that you should not speak between Baruch She'amar and Yishtabach. So too, it seems you should not speak between Asher Bachar Banu and Asher Natan Lanu. When you go to the Torah, after the reading of the Torah, until you make that last blessing, you shouldn't be allowed to speak. It should be the same thing as Baruch She'amar, just the fact that Tosafot brings the two cases together. Elavadai says, Hacham Ovadia, Achen Yesh Lomar, וכוונתם להקשות לא יפתח בברוך ואז יעשו לצורך בינתיים, אך לאחר האמת, כיוון שהיא פותחת בברוך, אין החינמי דמותה לצורך בינתיים. These days that it's a full beracha with Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam asher natan lanu, it's not connected to what it was before, and so therefore, these days it would be technically allowed to speak after the aliyah, before the beracha, maybe. Because it has its own petiha and its own hatima of the beracha. Baruch She'amar has a petiha. And then each one is its own set. So it's yeah, exactly. Now I'm going to skip ahead, so you guys read it later if you want. In the Yabia Omer, I'm going to read it later. I'm going to skip ahead here to the Orhot Haim. The Orhot Haim says, that he holds that it's asur to speak even between this. Let me skip this also. I want to go to the Kaf Haim. First, he says over here, "Uli'inyan pasuk go'alenu she'achar haftara." We read the haftara, and then we say go'alenu Hashem Sevot. That's a hefsek. שהוא יותר עדיף במנהג האומרים emet toratenu kedusha. It would be even better than saying emet. It's still speaking, but it's better than saying emet. Why? שהרי פסוק, ועלינו is a pasuk in the Navi. ולסיים בכי טוב ובנחמה בדברי הנביא. That's where this minhag came from. Why do we say גואלנו after every haftarah? Because some of the haftarahs are not pretty. They're yelling at us, the Naviim. And so we always want to end in a nice thing. גואלנו, Hashem Sevo, Kadosh Hashem will redeem us one day. And so that's why the minhag came here. Even though it's a whole discussion here, because you're not allowed to really switch from Navi to Navi in the Haftarah. You have to stay within the same Navi. The minhag became the same Goalin. However, Rav Chaim Palaji, Rav Chaim Palaji writes, in Lomad B'siyum Haftarah Pasuk Goalenu. You should not say Goalenu after the Haftarah. Shu hefsek bin Kiryah Haftarah leBirchoteah, because you're supposed to say the Berachot first. וכן, מה שאומר אחר קריאת ספר תורה אמת, קודם לברכה האחרונה, הוא הפסק, says the Chafachim, Also saying the word emet before the beracha is also a hefsek. ויש למנוע מלאומרו, you should not say. וכן כתב בספר זוכרנו לחיים, שהנוהגים לומד אמת, toratenu kedusha לאחר קריאה, לאו שפיר עבדי. It's Aramaic. They're not doing good, the people that talk and say emet, דהווה הפסק. וכן כתבו הפוסקים שאין לומר גואלנו. Also, they shouldn't say the word גואלנו, says the poskim, after ההפטרה מטעם הפסק. ואין נוהגים כמהפטרה, and we don't take this minhag. So maybe in Turkey, I don't know if they did it. Kafahim was Turkish. There was a lot of rabbis that were Turkish, but he said not to do it. However, says the Chamabadia, we're not going to go with him. We're going to argue with him. And we're going to say it's okay, it's allowed. It's okay. A special גואלנו, שבאמת פשט המנהג לאומרו ולא קהילות ספרד. All the Sephardic Jews say the word, the pasuk גואלנו. וכבר ביאנו לעיל בסייעתא דשמיא, שאין לפקפק על זה מצד ההלכה, it's okay halakhically. And Chacham Ovadia says, אולם באמירת אמת, toratenu kedusha, saying these words before the beracha, טוב לחוש שלא לאומרו. It's better halakhically to not say this before the blessing. You don't have to say it. He says, what do you have to say? Emet, it's true. You're about to say it in the blessing. You're gonna say it's emet. So we gotta say it. We know it's true. You're gonna say it's true in 1 second. So there's no reason to say it. What is the place to say this for? You don't have to say this here. You don't yell at someone who says it. If someone says it, leave him alone. These days, api halakha, it's allowed. It's just not necessary. And so therefore, the halakha is it's really better not to say this phrase. Someone who does say emet, he has what to rely upon, and don't fight with him. The pasuk of Goalenu after the haftarah, that's already the custom everywhere to say Goalenu. And don't change it. And I wrote what I think is proper. Did the Ashkenazim say Goalenu after the haftarah? No. So bottom line, better not to say emet. Just say the beracha. Goalenu we still say. We have no Ashkenaz people that pay attention here at the end.